focus on the affair of Tibet. The topic of Tibet affair is an old topic. But today, for the old topic, I will do the new thing. The exiled government of Tibet and the Chinese authority have 13 round talks before, but no any major progress. Most of the Tibetan people, including His Holiness Dalai Lama, feel disappointed to the Communist Party. But His Holy Dalai Lama, he said in many occasions, the sentiment of the problem of Tibetan should get the support of all the Chinese people and need the support from the Chinese people. We want the Chinese people to support the freedom of Tibetan. I think it's the first thing we should do is to make them understand the problem of Tibetan, the nature of the problem of Tibetan. To know why the Tibetan people struggle for the freedom. I contact many, I'm Chinese. I'm living in the Chinese community. I have many Chinese friends, and I often contact them. Also, I talk with them regarding the Tibetan affairs. Most Chinese people, they don't understand why the Western society, why the Western people support the freedom of Tibet. Some people, some Chinese people, they misunderstand the Western country or the Western people support the freedom of the Tibetan. Some people say maybe some of the Western supporter to the freedom of the Tibetan, maybe they have the hostility to the Chinese government. They want to make trouble to the Chinese government. Even they thought maybe the Western people, the Western supporter, get some benefit from the Tibetan exile government. And this is the purpose today I hold this conference. I invite some Western people, Western friends to come here to speak out why they support the freedom of Tibet. And all the speech today, will be translated into Chinese and published on the Chinese newspaper and on the Chinese media. And let the Chinese people know why the Western people support the freedom of Tibetan. Okay? And today, we are very happy. We have 11 speakers on our conference this afternoon. And now I introduce the speaker one by one. Okay? The first one is Mr. Kevin Thompson, the Federal Member of Parliament. And the second is Michael Daffy, Federal Member of Parliament, but he has not yet arrived. Maybe he will come very soon. And the third one is Mr. Peter Westmore, the President of Australia National Civil Council. And Dr. Visya Sergi, coordinator from National Council of Churches in Australia. And Mr. Jeffrey Barber, senior journalist who worked in China for over 10 years. And Dr. Robert Burrows, the free writers. And Dr. Joanna Salek, professor of Melbourne University. And Mr. Tupton, president of Australia Tibetan Association. And Ms. Sonnen, the president of Tibetan Women Association. Okay, and the other one is Dr. Wang Henggen, professor of Zhejiang University of China. He's doorkeeper now. And the other one is Mr. Zhao Jujin, the student of Learning Democracy Center of China. Okay, and then we will have 12 speakers today at our conference. And we will have a break for 30 minutes, around 2:30. And we prepare some finger food here, and water, coffee, and tea. And then during the break, you can have some finger food here. After the break, and we will continue our conference. And our conference, we plan to finish it before 5. And then the first speaker, I think we should need the voice from the Tibetan community first. We listen what they think, what they feel, and then we express our opinions on their demand. The first speaker is the president of Australia Tibetan Association, Mr. Tupton.
Thanks, Frank. And good morning, Kevin Thompson, MP, and James Nokia, and other our guests, speaker, and members of Chinese community, members of Tibetan community, and members of Australian community. So, before we all say a few things, I want to say about this group, this organization, Chinese Tibetan group. Actually, we established this organization a few years ago under the guidance of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the advice of him. And reason is, I think, before that, for Tibetan and for Chinese people, I think it's pretty hard to make a group, something like that. It just doesn't come in the mind to have a group with one group, member of Chinese and Tibetan community members. And it's very hard for even Chinese and for Tibetans. But because of His Holiness' great wisdom and visions for long run and for the future benefit of Tibetan and the Chinese, His Holiness, this sort of organization is going to be very helpful for Tibetan and the Chinese people. And slowly, then Tibetan and Chinese, I think, slowly they start understanding this, about this group, what we're going to achieve from this group. So, mainly I think this group established for the future, not for the past. This group is not for the past. We are not talking about the past. We are not talking like Tibet is independent or not independent, China is, we're not anything, we're not talking about the past. This group is established for the future. If you talk about the past, then maybe we can't establish this group because there's a different kind of story behind. There's a history like a Mongol occupied Tibet, Mongol occupied China. There's a story Tibet occupied China, and there's a story China occupied Mongol. So this is a very complex issue. So we are not, this organization is not based on the past, but this is organization based on the future. So in the future, if we don't understand or it's hard to understand, then we can look in a European Union, European country. Now in the European Union, there's 21 country. They almost share the economy. They're almost like a one solid nation. They help each other. But if you look 50 years ago, during the First World War, Second World War, how many people killed in Europe? Fighting between German, French, English, Italian, million people died in Europe. Now if you see the Europe, it's one entity, one family. We know that in recent year, Greece and Spain in a big problem, economic problem. Can you imagine German and French, lead by them, helping Greece economy at the moment? If you talk about past 40, 50 years ago, actually they're killing each other to occupy each other. But now it's all changed. So that's why I'm saying that as a Tibetan and as a Mongolian, as a Chinese, we fight each other. We got a different story, different history, different things. But that's the past. Like Europeans have a past, we have a past. But now we have to look in the future, what we can do. As a European Union, how much they are helping each other, how much they're really, growing fast and really helping each other as a one family. So I believe that His Holiness and Dalai Lama also thinking that way. If we have a one family, strong family, combined by Chinese, Tibetan, Mongolian, and many other nationality, we can really make a very good family, great family. So that's the basis of, this new organizations. But sometimes we find some Chinese or some Tibetan, they're trying to claim Tibet is part of China, China is part of blah, blah, blah. So some people say that. So I want to recuse all those people. We don't want to go back. If you go back, then this organization is very hard to establish. This organization is for future, not for the past. So everybody has to understand that. And now, I think few people knows about condition and situation in the Tibet. The reason is very clear. Tibet is 100% sealed off. Not only for the media and tourists, but also for the Tibetan. So it's like I'm talking about like people who live in Baldwin, they can't go to the box sale. Just example. If you want to go to the box sale, to shopping or for whatever the reason, you have to carry all your identity card in your pocket. To cross maybe half an hour. To go from one suburb to two suburbs, another suburb, you have to carry all your identity card in your pocket. That's the situation in the Tibet. If one suburb, and here I'm not talking about one state to another state, like a Tibet who lives in Sichuan or Yunnan or Shanghai, if they want to come to Tibet Autonomous Region, Lhasa, no. It's just, I'm talking about Lhasa or wherever Tibet lives there. It's like fully, reminding us like us maybe in the Second World War time, maybe Nazi time, maybe during Cultural Revolution time. that sort of situation and condition is at present in Tibet. And this is like 21st century. Can you believe that these sort of things are happening in a under communist rule? And China is a country, many believes that in next 10, 15 years, they're going to lead the world, whole world. I mean, China's going to lead the world. I don't know how scary it's going to be. If Communist Party lead the world, how scary it's going to be. This is just out of your imagination. But I think we are talking about money, market, economy, power. But from one side, it is just not possible. This is the 21st century. If you want to lead the whole world, means you're not only economy, power, and moral right, moral things also is one of the most important things, morality. So this is the Communist Party we are talking about, and this is the Communist Party many people in the Western are involved with. So I mean, every Western country. We are not saying here it's a bad thing to deal a business with a Communist Party in a Beijing. I think it's very necessary, but at the same time, we have to raise this issue also. Like America, like Australia, like a European country, China is the biggest market. China is the biggest economy, business partner. And just look backyard of Chinese Communist Party in Tibet, in China itself, in Mongolia. What's happening? And Western is the country where we talk about all this non-violence, peaceful, and we have a really and we don't want those terrorisms. No? We always talk about American, French, English, Australian, always hates all this violence, terrorism. We love peace, negotiations. We talk about those things in the Western, but in practically, but there's nothing happening. Look what's happening in Tibet. Look what happened in Burma. Burma and Tibet is, I think, most peaceful country who really fought for last 40, 50 years with non-violence. You can see Burmese monk and people walking through the street asking for release the Aung San Suu Kyi. Same thing Tibetan did. No gun in a hand. No gun. And what Burma government did. Now what CRP is doing, Chinese Communist Party is doing with the Tibetans. So this I'm not talking about 50, 60 years ago. This I'm talking about right now, 21st century. We believe that we achieved law. We believe we are really spiritual. Really, we achieved everything. But really, if you look, those areas, it's very sad. It still looks like it's the 19th century or 20th century. It's very sad, I know. Everybody knows that, and we've been shouting, repeating for the last 40, 50 years to the world what's happening in Tibet. To be frank, I should say that nobody's listening. No one's listening. No one's listening. I know it's Tibetan. It's all up to. I'm telling my Tibetan people, it's all up to us. It's very hard. You can build your. It's very hard to gain your freedom with the help of someone else. It's very hard. No, I truly don't believe that somebody come and help us to get our freedom. No. We have to, Tibetan has to do by ourselves. We have to achieve this. But at the same time, it's important, it's necessary. Share our story with our friends. But I'm saying that because we live in this global, we believe that we are all interdependent. We can't live happier if somebody is sad. But actually, that's what saying goes. But actually, it's happening. People are suffering around the world, and some are very happy and very doing fine. But it's very sad. So without going any further, today I want to read out the message of our new Prime Minister, Gallantiba Samdong Rinpoche, Lobsang Singye. Samdong Rinpoche is our ex-Prime Minister, and Lobsang Singye is our new Prime Minister. But I told yesterday also, but I'm very happy that our condition is very poor at the moment in many fields, economy and education. In many fields, we are not that standard. But everyone, if you talk about 50 years ago, what the Chinese standard. If you talk about 70 years ago, what the standard of Japan. We talk about Europe and also, everybody is growing, everybody is improving. So Tibet is also on that track. I believe in the next 50 years we really achieve something. We really improve our standard. But another thing is that we are weak in those areas. But what I have seen in my life is, in the last 50 years, Tibetans are very united now. We all believe that Tibet is only autonomous region, is it Tibet, and Lhasa is the capital. Actually, that is only, we are talking about here, 30–40% of Tibet. There's more Tibetan lives in Qinghai, Yunnan, Sichuan, Gansu. Those are 4 different states Tibetan people live here. Tibet is actually 3 provinces, Wuzhang, Amdo, Kham. Amdo, 100% Amdo is not included in Tibet Autonomous Region. And 70% Khampa is not included in this Autonomous Region of Tibet. Autonomous region is only combined of 100% Wuzhang and 30% Khampa from 3 provinces. So here we are talking about only 30–40% Tibetan person lives in an autonomous regional part of Tibet. Other 60% lives in Yunnan, Qinghai, Gansu, and other parts. But in the past, we have seen those crises, those demonstrations only in the Lhasa area, but we haven't seen on those other areas. But what changes is, if you look back 4 years, last 4 years, 1988 is another anniversary of 10 March. So 1988 was a very big crisis and very big thing happened in Tibet. That's not from the Lhasa and Amdo, Sichuan area, most of those areas now. In the Gansu and Yunnan, Qinghai, those areas. So, but now if you talk about last 2 years, most of self-revolutions happen outside the autonomous region of Tibet. 26 people set themselves on fire. They are not part of the autonomous region of Tibet. They're part of Gansu, no, Sichuan. And you can see in the last few months, there's a big demonstration in Qinghai area and Yunnan area and Gansu area. So now Tibetans are very united, very much united. So Tibet, so everybody knows that to solve the problem of Tibet is, who's the key figure? His Holiness the Dalai Lama is a key figure who can solve this problem. As I mentioned before, to have a friendship group with the Chinese brothers and sisters is just unthinkable. But because of His Holiness and because of his wisdom, his advice, when he asked us to do so, when we really think about future of Tibet or future of China, then it's good for China and Tibet live together, work together, respect each other. So I believe, most of Tibetans believe that we'll achieve our goal while His Holiness is alive. That's otherwise it's very difficult, really. We can say Tibet is 6 million Tibetans. Once His Holiness is not alive, you will see 300 different people there with a different opinion. It's very hard to then, you won't find any single person to talk to. Well, it's going to be very hard. The Dalai Lama is, as long as he lives, at the China, His Holiness is the right person, he can talk on behalf of 6 million Tibetans. If His Holiness is not there, it's going to be very mess. Then I don't know what happens. So China still, CRP, CCP, Communist Party of China still got a time. His Holiness is still very active and alive, and he's also very willing to talk and continue our negotiation.